Outside the Box Reviews, we were taking a look at the Diamond Select, I guess? Monster Hunter Van Helsing figure. And yeah, this guy, I guess, isn't really a Universal Select figure because, well, he is based off a character from Dracula. It's just a generic Van Helsing. It's not a screen-accurate Van Helsing from any movie I've ever seen. But I think it's a pretty cool concept. It's just a 1800s dude decked out with a ton of weapons to go and kill some monsters. And this is the deluxe version yet again with the deluxe base. I believe the Toys R Us exclusive version is just the figure with all of his accessories and a more simplified base, but I opted for the crazy one. So let's jump right in and take a closer look. Now, usually when I go to talk about the display base, the first thing I do is take the figure off and show it off, but I want to show how awkwardly he stands on this base. He has a raised rock for the 1 foot to stand on and a lowered section that's probably lower than anything else on the base for his back leg, and it just kind of is hard to get him positioned in a way where he's not going to topple over. It takes a lot of messing around with it to get him stable on this base. And then I really wish they would have flip-flopped where his legs are, because we have our vampire coming out of the ground over here, and it would have been nice if he was facing her like he was gonna kill her instead of kind of looking off in the distance. But this display base is pretty cool. Has a lot of different things going on. As I said before, we have the kind of torn up ground, the cemetery ground, the big rock with some moss and grass going around it. We have a cross tombstone over here, which is removable. So if you didn't want that, you could take it off. And then we have our vampire coming out of the ground. Behind her is this tombstone. It says Harker. It's got some really nice detail on there. So I assume this is supposed to be Mina, and she is just a mess. Her clothes are all ripped up. She's got glowing red eyes, fangs going on there, some grass coming out of her hair. Very well detailed figure. She is mildly articulated. She swivels at the shoulder, so you can move her arms up and down. There's no in and out. There's no nothing else there. No cut joints anywhere else on the limbs. And the head is on a ball joint, but the hair is so restrictive that you really don't get anything out of that. But a very cool looking display base. And I opted for this deluxe version simply because I feel like having the vampire coming out of the ground here helps explain what the character is, since he doesn't have a movie reference point really. It kind of helped the Monster Hunter vibe for me to have something for him to fight. Plus, it's just a cool cemetery background. I mean, even if you pop her off, it's a decent little cemetery plot going on. And as you'd expect from any Monster Hunter worth his salt, Van Helsing comes with quite a few weapons. We got a little flintlock pistol, which is wonderfully detailed, some great wood grain going on. It's got these silver mechanisms that are very ornate. It's got the trigger. Just a lot of really nice detail going on this gun. Very impressive. And on the front here, he has a little holster, so you can just slide it right in there. And he's got that on him. He's got an axe, and I like to think some of these other weapons are maybe things that he picked up along his adventures. So we have this kind of gothic looking battle axe. Once again, a great wood grain handle, a gold end to it, and some gold wraps up here at the top, and a very worn silver that's made out of a lot of black shading on it, and then a nice splattering of blood across the blade, which is a great touch, very brutal looking. We have a larger old-timey musket or whatever, I guess. Once again, some more great wood grain. This has both silver and brass detailing on it, so the trigger and the muzzle are brass, and a couple other little odds and ends on it, and the silver actual firing mechanisms and some of the detailing work on it. Very nicely done. Very well sculpted. Very well painted too. And last but not least, he's got a sword. So this is something you'd see more in maybe Eastern Europe or North Africa or something like that. And it's a nice touch. It could either have come out of Dracula's castle, or maybe he got it when he was going through a mummy's tomb or something. So it's a very cool detail. A great shape to the blade, a lot of cool contours to it. Very well done. And all three of these have places on his backpack, so we can put the sword in, the gun, and the axe. And he can carry all of his monster killing gear with him. As for the face, once again, there was no actor for this to be based on, so they can kind of go wherever they wanted with it. I kind of think it looks like Shawn Ashmore in old age makeup. You know, Iceman from the X-Men films. Somehow I see that in here, but it's kind of interesting. He's definitely an older guy, so his hair is starting to gray. He's got a very unique looking beard going on. His one eye is taken out and scarred over. His other eye is normal though. Decent weathered looking head sculpt. Coming down, we've got his kind of old timey garb. So he's got his button across shirt with a high collar. I like that they gave him the high collar, like it's supposed to protect him from vampires. He's got a bunch of stakes across his chest. Unfortunately, these aren't removable, and the way they're attached is kind of odd. We have the belts underneath it, and you'd think it would just be strapped to that, but they're on their own piece and they stick up straight in a row. So I don't know if that was just the only way they could get them on there without it being awkward or what, but it's a little weird looking. His gloves are very nicely detailed, look like old leather. He's got a nice belt with some great detail, a very ornate belt buckle. And then, of course, he has the holster on the side here I already talked about, some great stitching in it. And then all these pouches around him that I guess are supposed to hold whatever he needs on his adventures. And as I already mentioned, the holsters in back with some great sculpted detail as well. These are soft rubber, all these holsters. Got some blue pants, some very nice looking boots. Kind of probably be mid-thigh boots, but they're turned down at the top. Some very good detailing on this figure. For articulation, this guy is fully loaded. He has a ball joint at the head, so he can look up and down, side to side very easily. Pin socket shoulder, forward and back out to the side. Rotate at the upper bicep. You can bend and rotate at the elbow. You can also rotate at the glove. He has two waist joints, which I think is a waist. Oh my god, that was a bad pun. But you can swivel him up here, and also you can swivel his whole lower section. So I don't really know why that happens, but it would just be kind of nice if it was one joint, because now you move his upper body, then you have to move the lower part of his tunic to match it, and it's kind of awkward. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It's really good leg joints. You can go forward and back, you can go out to the side. He's a mid-thigh cut. He has a decent knee joint. There's a swivel at the top of the boot, and his feet can hinge as well as have a small ankle pivot to them. And overall, I really like this Van Helsing figure. And that actually kind of bugs me, because I would have rather had a true icon, another Universal figure, a character that I loved from the movies, but on the same level, this is just a very, very cool figure. He just has so many accessories, some great articulation, and some pretty good detail on him. So he's gonna get a high recommend, and sadly, he might be the highlight of this entire wave for me. Even though I love the creature, and the next figure I talk about, the Son of Frankenstein figure, I really do enjoy as well. Something about this just has something awesome going for it. I can't even put it into words, but I like it. I like it a lot. So I definitely recommend it. Definitely not for the fans that are a little more picky and choosy on the line. I think you'd be better off getting the ones that actually appear in films. And this figure is infinitely better than any movie starring Hugh Jackman fighting Dracula and Wolfman and all kinds of old Universal monsters like that. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.